Let's talk about something new that's taking over the world of software development, and it's all thanks to AI. It's called vibe coding, and well, it's creating this fascinating and sometimes pretty dangerous illusion of productivity. In this explainer, we're going to break down what it is, where it's actually useful, where it totally fails, and most importantly, how to fix it.
You know, this quote from an engineering manager on Reddit, it just perfectly captures the whole problem. They're looking at code from their junior developers, and it looks amazing. I mean, it's clean, it runs, all the tests are green. You'd think they leveled up overnight. But when you pull back the curtain, something's not quite right. And this right here is the heart of the issue. Yeah, the code works. But when the manager asks a simple question like, hey, why'd you choose this specific approach? The developer just shrugs and says, that's what the AI told me to do. And that is a huge, huge risk. See, code that works is not the same as code that's understood. And if you don't understand it, there's no way you can fix it when it all comes crashing down at 2 a.m. You're basically shipping a black box. So what exactly is this practice? I mean, it's not about just using AI to help you out. It's about completely handing over the keys. It's about abdicating responsibility. And it has a name, vibe coding. The term comes from Andrej Karpathy, and he used it to describe building stuff with a large language model, an LLM, by just going with your gut. But here's the most important part, the key phrase, without reviewing or understanding the code. You're just letting the AI go wild, you're hitting accept all, and you pretty much just forget the code even exists. You're completely surrendering to the machine's vibes. And that brings us to a really clear line in the sand. On one side, you've got responsible AI assistance, where the human, the developer, is still in the driver's seat. You're reviewing every line, you're testing it, you can explain why it works. Vibe coding, though, that's the complete opposite. You're just a passenger. The AI is driving, and you're just hoping you end up in the right place. The whole game comes down to one question. Who's actually in control? But hold on. Before we just label vibe coding a total disaster, let's be fair. It's a tool, right? And pretty much any tool has its place. So let's look at the whole picture here. The good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So when is it okay to just vibe? Well, for low-stakes stuff, it's actually fantastic. If you're hacking together a quick prototype for a competition or just messing around with a new technology on a weekend, letting the AI fly is an incredible way to move super fast. And for people who aren't even programmers, it massively lowers the barrier to getting things done, which is genuinely a wonderful thing. All right, now for the bad. Take a look at this. This is a real-life proposed change to an open-source project. Over 16,000 lines of code changed. I mean, a normal change is maybe a few dozen lines, a few hundred at most. This is just insane. It's what one sociologist called the tragedy of the lone producer. You have one person, superpowered by AI, who just churns out this mountain of work that no human could ever possibly review. So what happens? It gets rejected. All that so-called productivity was completely worthless. And this is where we get to the really ugly side of vibe coding. When you do this on a real project, you slam headfirst into a problem called context amnesia. The AI in your chat window, it has zero memory of your project's security rules, its architecture, its history. It's like asking a brilliant architect to design a beautiful room, but you forget to tell them what building it's for. The consequence of that amnesia is, well, it's profound. As Vay Sharma from Microsoft put it, vibe coding could become vulnerability as a service. Think about that. You're not just writing new features, you could be outsourcing the creation of massive security holes to an AI that doesn't have the context to build things safely. That's a pretty chilling thought. And if you need proof, here it is. Sharma's team vibe coded their way to a product at lightning speed. Awesome, right? But then they sent it out for an external security audit. The report that came back was 163 pages long. It detailed tons of vulnerabilities, including 15 that were rated severe. This is the real-world price of context amnesia. It's not some theoretical risk, it is a production nightmare waiting to happen. Okay, so how do we fix this? How do we get all the power of AI without its blindness? The answer is to evolve. We need to move from vibe coding to something being called vibe engineering. It's about shifting from pure chaos to actual discipline. And the fix really starts with a fundamental change in mindset. A junior developer, or a vibe coder, asks one simple question. Does it work? It's a yes or no. But a senior engineer asks a much, much deeper question. What could break in production? They're thinking about all the weird edge cases, about security, about scale.
That is the mindset of an engineer, not just someone who generates code.
And that mindset is what vibe engineering is all about. It's a discipline. It's about taking all that unwritten knowledge, the vibes of your team, and actually building a formal architecture around it. You create constraints and rules that guide the AI, making sure that what it produces is reliable, secure, and something you can actually maintain. And the difference is just night and day. With vibe coding, you're just a prompter, a typist. With vibe engineering, you become an architect, an orchestrator. The context you're working with explodes from just your little chat window to the entire codebase and all its rules. And the quality check? It goes from does it run to does it pass our entire automated test suite. You're not just making code anymore. You're engineering a system that produces good code. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, you literally codify your team's knowledge. You create files in your project that tell the AI, hey, never use this insecure function, or always use this library for authentication. You create specialized agents, like a little security review agent that's an expert in just that one thing. And the result is, you stop bad code from ever being written in the first place, because the AI is defaulting to your team's best practices from the very start. All of this brings us to our final and maybe the most important question. This whole shift is forcing us to ask, in an age where a machine can write the code, what is the real value of a human engineer? The value isn't in typing anymore. It's in thinking. The skills that are at a premium now are judgment, system design, and the knack for debugging really complex failures. It's the critical thinking you need to look at AI-generated code, poke holes in its assumptions, and question its output. These uniquely human skills are suddenly more valuable than ever before. Which really just leaves us with this one final thought. AI is getting incredibly good at generating answers, but engineering has always been about asking the right questions. So as these tools get more and more powerful, maybe the most valuable skill we can have is no longer the ability to write code, but the wisdom and the discipline to question it.